What's up, guys? Welcome to the Resellers Podcast with Tech and Sports and Daily Refinement. This podcast is designed to help you guys do a 6 or 7 figure eBay store. Anyone can start an eBay store. We're going to help you guys build with the right tips and tricks. So from our first episode last week, Tech, the most common question is going to be our topic for today, which is how do you list so many items every day? That by far is the most common question. So let's just address that in this episode.
Alrighty. Yeah, that was the most common question that I got this week was how do I list so many items every single day? And it's not how regarding all the steps on doing it. It's how regarding how do you do it every single day? Most people that I know just list very infrequently. And I think the biggest key to eBay is building the consistency and building the momentum, because without that, you're not going to see the consistent sales. And I think eBay rewards consistency. So the question that I got the most this week was how do you do it without getting burnt out? And, I've been doing it for a very long time and I'm still going pretty strong. So I think a lot of people are focused on what they are doing. And if you have to wake up every single day and you go, okay, I have to list 30 items, or I have to list 50 items, or I have to list 100 items per day, whatever your goal may be, if that's what you're focused on, if you're focused on what you have to do, it's very easy to procrastinate or to get sidetracked. But for me, I focus on why I am doing it. So for me, I'm building the biggest business that I can in every aspect of the businesses that I have. And the why that I'm doing it is so I can acquire the most wealth that I can and acquire the most assets that I can, so that my family and my son, that they'll be straight forever. So it's easy to get burnt out if you're focused on what you are doing every single day. I can never get burnt out on the why I'm doing it. I can't get burnt out on why I'm building everything that I'm building. All goes to my son or all goes to take care of my family. It's impossible to get burnt out on that aspect of it. So if you're focused on the what, I would have given up a long time ago if all I'm focused on is I got to do this again. I got to do this again. I got to do this again. But if I'm focused on why I'm doing it, then it's impossible for you to give up or not do it, because you're focused on the long-term goal and you're focused on providing for your family and taking care of your family. So that was the number one question that I got. And that's pretty much the mind state that I've been in for, pretty much my whole life. So I'm just focused on trying to build the biggest thing that I can to help take care of my family, acquire wealth, acquire assets, and hopefully everyone's taken care of and everyone's straight.
That's a really good differentiation, because if you focus on yourself, that's really small and constricting. What do I have to do today? There's so much to do, but that's only you. Even if you just expand it to just your family, now you have 3 reasons or 4 reasons to get up and do it. And the long-term goal, you mentioned when we were speaking yesterday that you're not doing eBay for a year. You're doing it with a long-term
right, because the question was, because I used to list 120 items per day, and I did that every single day for the better part of 10 years. And then I increased it to 140 items per day, and I was doing that for a couple of months. Then I was doing 160 items per day, and I was doing that for a couple of months before I hired a couple of employees, and now we're doing 250 items per day. And the question was, have you seen any increase in your business since you started doing the 250? And there's not enough sample size to see the increase since we've only been doing it for a couple of months. And like I said, I don't measure week to week, day to day, month to month. I measure year over year, because I'm in business for a year. I'm not in business for a month or for a week. So my sales this year, I don't expect a dramatic increase just because I've increased the listing. My sales compared next year to this year, I expect to see a good bump, because over time the store is building up on those extra items going into the inventory, and pretty soon my store may be 30,000 items, and I'm going to sell way more than I was selling at the level of 20 or 22 or 25,000 items. So I don't get caught up in, oh, I had a bad day or a bad week. We're all in this for the long run. So the metric should be longer term, since we're all in business for the long term. That's how I look at it.
That's a great point. It's like messaging your personal trainer after you eat one salad. Like that
Right.
doesn't do anything. You've got to be healthy forever.
Mm-hmm.
Your body doesn't just take a break and now you can eat whatever you want. So this is really cool because the long-term mentality, because I get a pretty common question, which is I just doubled the amount of listings. Why didn't my sales double?
Right.
And eBay is a robot. They look at long term, the entire time you've been selling. They don't look at it today, because otherwise there would be ways to game the system. They look at
Mm-hmm.
consistency over time.
Right. So like when I had 8,000 items or 10,000 items, you sell X amount per year. And then once you get up to 15,000 items, it's like an exponential increase that you're going to sell X amount more per year. So in my experience, the larger the store has gotten, the sales have increased dramatically. So I'm of the thinking of the larger store is better. And I think that way for a couple of reasons, but in my experience, the more items I have for sale, the more items I'm able to sell. And to me, that kind of sounds pretty simple, but that's pretty much the business in a nutshell, in my opinion.
So do you literally, so okay, as an example, I sell between 40 and 70 items a day, and I've listed 40 to 70 items a day this entire year. So now I'm thinking about you inspired me to basically double it to like at least 101 a day. So if I'm doing that, I'm actually not going to expect an increase till like I can expect an increase of the year 2021. I think that takes the pressure off because you're not thinking about immediate results. You're thinking, okay, if I start doing this now, next year there'll be a bump in sales instead of worrying about the immediate effect. I think people want that instant gratification.
Right. So the way I look at it is, let's say my store has 20,000 items. At that time, selling around 200 items. So that means for every 100 items, I get one sale. So when
Mm,
my store goes to 30,000 items, I should be able to see 300 sales per day.
right.
So that's why it's long term. Like, just because you doubled your listings for this week or this month, your store only went from 20,000 to
Mm,
20,060. So
that's
there's
right.
not any real bump. But if you go from 20,000 to 21,000, now you're getting 210 sales per day. And it doesn't seem
Mm.
like a huge difference, but it does add up over the course of a year, because an extra 10 is going to be an extra 3,650 sales per year. So that's pretty much how it is for me. For every thousand or so, um, you can extrapolate the data, and then it corresponds with how many items I'm going to sell per day. So that's why you can't look at it short term, and you got to look at it year over year. So at 10,000 listings, I sold X amount. At 20,000, I sold X amount. At 30,000, I can expect to sell X amount, and then I'm going to make more money because I'm selling more items.
You made a comment yesterday that you can't list quality items consistently and not have consistent sales.
Yeah, it's impossible. We were talking about, um, just being consistent and building the momentum. And I use the example that for my tree service, I can have the best trained employees. They can have the best uniforms. They can all show up on time. I can have the best equipment. Everything's oiled up. Everything's ready, but the phone may not ring all week. So like, just because everything is prepared and ready, the customer may not call. So it's a little bit more of a helpless feeling. But with eBay, if you list, over the course of a week, 100 quality items, it's guaranteed that you're going to sell those items. Not all 100, but they're going to sell. If you list 0 items, you can't sell any items. So eBay is the only business where you can start it up with next to no money, and it's going to reward you for the effort that you put in. So like I said, I can put all the effort into my tree service, have all of those guys ready, everything perfect, and the phone may not even ring. I could advertise locally. We can knock on doors, and we may not even get a job. It's not in our hands. For eBay, it's totally in your hands. If you put in the work to get the items up and you have quality listings, those items will sell. And that's the only business where you're like the master of your own destiny, in my opinion.
And I want to drive home that we also said that we've been doing this for a long time and we've never seen a store that consistently listed that didn't have sales. we haven't seen an example of eBay not rewarding that store almost immediately.
Yeah, I've never seen a store that has all quality items and that person complaining that there's no sales. I've never seen a person say, hey, I list 50 items a day and I'm not selling anything. I've seen people say that I haven't listed in 2 weeks and my sales suck. Like, I've seen that before. You know what I mean? But like, I've never seen somebody say, yeah, I list 30 items a day and I sell nothing. I've never seen that before, ever.
That concludes the free section of this podcast, which is actually 1 hour long. So if you guys want access to the rest of the show, it's on patreon.com/the Resellers Podcast. The link is in the description below. Premium access is $5 per month. We also have a premium Facebook group that's $35 per month. That also comes with weekly coaching from Tech and Sports Tuesday evenings at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time or 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's about an hour. It goes a little bit over or a little under depending on how many questions there are. And at the $99 level, you get access to my personal mastermind, which meets Monday through Friday at 6 a.m. And I'm Daily Refinement. So Monday through Friday at 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time or 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can meet with people and get your day organized properly and discuss best practices. There's an example of that goes live every Wednesday on this channel. So you can just join and listen for the podcast for $5, which is on Patreon. There are no ads. So that goes towards the production of it. $35, you get the Facebook group and weekly coaching, and then $99, you get essentially daily coaching. And that's for people who basically want to change their network to just people who are trying to do this for a living. So we appreciate you guys' time. This is an incredible episode. So we'll see you guys on the Patreon page, and the link is in the description below. Thanks, guys.